boy, is it a doozy of a division as we take a look at it. Detroit Lions reigning at the top after a 15-win season last year, 15-2, a net 222 point differential, which led the NFL. 8-0 on the road, 7-2 at home, 11-1 in conference. Just destroyed pretty much everybody. They're set at 10.5. Green Bay set at 9.5 after an 11-win season last year, which saw them go 1-5 in the division. Weirdly enough, they just could not beat the NFC North, but they could beat everybody else. Minnesota coming off a 14-win season. 14, not 4, not 10, 14, with Sam Darnold the helm set at 8.5. And the Bears coming off a rough season where they lost 10 in a row down the stretch, if I'm not mistaken. I believe they were 4-2, and then or 5. Yeah, I think it was 5-2, then lost. Maybe it was 4-2, and then they went 10-1 the rest of the way. After that, Hail Mary tomfoolery against the Commanders, which destroyed DJ's best bet streak as well. So forever in pain when it comes to that game whatsoever. It was cold after that, but should set at 8.5. So Kelcey, I led the way on the AFC. We're going to let you go and lead the way when it comes to the NFC North.
Yeah, so I'm going to rip this one off real quick and in a hurry. We talked about the Vikings, 14 wins, first 14-win team to go and as a wild card in the playoffs last year. Yeah, they're going to be 7-10 this year.
Not bad.
No, not bad, but not good. But I don't trust JJ McCarthy. I feel like I've said this enough, but I will say it again for those that haven't heard me talk about my disdain for JJ McCarthy being looked at as a top quarterback option. His entire career has been that of a guy who is just a game manager. There's nothing wrong with game managers, but do not tell me a game manager is better than somebody who has a lot more intangibles in their system. JJ has never played an NFL snap, not a regular season NFL snap. He is a second-year player. He did not get practice time last year because of the injury. So now you're going to tell me this team is expected to get 8.5 wins after a 14-win team was last year when Sam Darnold played out of his mind for a vast majority of that season. Yeah, I don't see it happening. This defense has gotten older. They continue to get slower. I still love Brian Flores and his ability to coach up defenses like nobody else, but it's not going to be enough. You need dynamic players here. And right now on the Vikings team, outside of Jay Jettas and TJ Hawkinson, I don't see a lot of difference makers on this team. So yeah, for me, the Vikings 7-10 is not a bad situation, but it's after a 14-win year, you're going to be disappointed. So yeah, that's my prediction. 1-5 in the division. Doesn't look good in the division either. But this is no different than there was a few years back where they won every game close, and then the next year they lost every close game. You know, that's kind of how it flows in Viking land. You win a lot, and then you lose next season, and you're disappointed, and then you win a lot again. So unfortunately for them, it's going to be that way. So 7-10 at the bottom of the division. Next up, the Bears, 8-9, going 3-3 in the division, being very Bears-like. I think the big difference here, obviously, you talk Ben Johnson coming in. Yeah, that's going to be a huge difference for just the entire offense. You're not going to see DeAndre Swift running at halfback gut every single time. You're going to see him actually get into space, get open. You're going to see them use two running backs. You're going to see them use Roshan a little more. You're going to see them get Roman Odunze involved. You're going to see probably any receiving core option that's not just DJ Moore. And you're going to see Caleb hopefully stay inside the pocket and not have to get sacked and not have to throw the ball on the run every time and actually be able to be a real quarterback in the NFL and not scrambling for his life. I was always of the opinion Caleb was not the right guy for the Bears, and it's because of the system around him when he got there. With the new system here, if he can figure it out, I think this is his best opportunity to prove he can be an NFL quarterback. And honestly, he has a really low bar to set for being the Bears' all-time best quarterback. Also, Tyson Bagent still here. Got a $10 million contract extension. So if anything happens to Caleb, I'm a little less afraid of what happens in the second year or with the second stringer than I am in a lot of other teams. So yeah, the Bears 8-9, 3-3 division. Next up, Packers, Jordan Love, 10-7, 3-3 in division. Because that's what the Packers seem to do, is just enough. Just enough. No, I don't dislike this team at all. I don't love the defense, though. And I'm not sold on the receiving core, despite Matthew Golden being everybody's darling going into this season. I hate the number. We talked about that before. You've pointed it out 1,001 times, and yeah, it just doesn't look good. Got to have a receiving number. You can't just
Find him every week. He does it.
but I do love Josh Jacobs. I do think their offensive line is not bad. And Jordan Love, I think, is that guy that's going to be that fourth quarterback of this generation, where you look at it as like you have your top three guys, and then that fourth guy that's always really, really good. But is he good enough? Does he have a good enough team to get over the hump? I look at it like that. Also, Tucker Kraft, don't sleep on that guy at tight end. Very
Really
good. And defensive line is really good too. They're just not good enough. Is kind of the vibe I get. They're good enough to get 10-7, but are they good enough to win it all? No, not yet. They're there. They're close though. And then last but not least, I think surprising nobody, them Detroit Lions, 12-5, 5-1 in the division. They do take a step back with no Ben Johnson. I don't think that's any surprise. No Aaron Glenn, take a step back. But guess what? They are going to be this year. Healthy. Yay, everybody in Detroit screams in excitement. Jared Goff is the most underrated quarterback in my eyes in the NFL. This guy has continued to be a top 5 passer, top 7 passer since he got to Detroit. And yet everybody's like, it's just Jared Goff. Like, are we kidding ourselves here? This dude has been exceptionally talented every year. He has proven he can win games. And him and what Amon-Ra have is unquestionably good chemistry. You add in what he has with Sam Laporta, and you add in Tim Patrick as a weapon off the bench that nobody really even thinks about because you have J-Mo running down the line. You do.
You're not allowed to talk about Tim Patrick before the season. You just ruined his season.
I'm sorry, Tim Patrick.
What are you doing?
If nobody knows the history there, I have drafted Tim Patrick in 2 seasons, preseason drafts, and he got injured, tore his ACL in both the very next practice in both cases. So, but I didn't draft him this year. That's the rule. Is I thought it was I didn't have to draft him, so I didn't draft him.
No,
so
was that you just don't even acknowledge him? Your curse is too.
And maybe it is the Kelcey curse on Tim Patrick. Tim Patrick, if that's the case, I do apologize. You can come on the show and talk about it. But no, Jamar Gibbs and David Montgomery are fantastic too. This offense, I could say 1,001 great things about. So I did. The defense, I can say 10 good things about, but I won't because I need to leave something for DJ to talk about. But for real though, the Lions team is really good. I don't think there's any questioning that. So recapping from the bottom up, Vikings 7-10, 1-5 in division. At the 4th place position, Bears 8-9, 3-3 in the division, sitting at 3. Packers 10-7, 3-3 in the division, at the number 2 spot in the division, and taking the division, the Lions 12-5, 5-1 in the division.
You know where we are different? We are also the same. So I'll go through this relatively quickly. At the bottom of the barrel, we got the Vikings at 6-11. You have a 22-year-old quarterback. He's basically essentially a rookie. That's a tough spot to come into. He has not played a lot of football. He hasn't played much in the NFL. And in college is a very different type of offense. Hasn't thrown a lot of passes. Jay Jettis is banged up right now with the hamstring. Addison's out for the first 3 weeks. The running game, Aaron Jones is a timeless wonder, but he is known to get banged up every single season, at least for a few weeks. I like Jordan Mason. We'll see how it fits. There's just questions. I do. They have it's an outstanding situation. Ask me again next year. I might be like, oh my goodness, the Vikings are amazing. But I think this year it's going to be a little bit. It's going to be a little rough. Very few teams win 14 games, switch quarterbacks, and then are awesome again. It's hard to really think of that happening at any other time. But next up on the line, we got the Bears also at 8-9. I think they're going to start a little slow, but I think they're going to pick up a lot of steam. I really do like this team. I think if everything clicks with the new coaching staff, like let's say Ben Johnson runs a very, very complex system that's been talked about across the board. Like there's a lot to grasp. So if they are able to grasp it quickly, this team can win 10 or 11 games. I think they're a really talented team. I just think there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve earlier on. And honestly, it's a tradition by subtraction. Get rid of Matt Eberflus and the catastrophe they had last year at coaching staff and what was going on. So that automatically is good. So I can see this team easily winning 10. But we're going to split to 8-9. They're going to get hot down the stretch. They're going to be a lot of people's darling the next year, including mine probably. That's how they're playing out. And I think DJ Moore is going to be electric and do a lot of that Amon-Ra St. Brown stuff because they're going to see him get the ball in his hands and destroy people's ankles and be, I like that. And Colston Loveland's awesome. Next up, I have the Packers at 8-1. So an Aaron Rodgers return to Green Bay, that is going to be the tie that we have. So I will have them going 8-1. Both them and the Bears 3-3 in the division as well. Packers getting much better in the division after last year, which leaves the Lions also 12-5 and 5-1 in the division. Everything you said about their offense, from Jahmyr Gibbs to Jamison Williams to Amon-Ra St. Brown, the offensive line, Sam Laporta, Jared Goff, incredible offense. It's all still there. Defensively, Aiden Hutchinson's coming back. I think he is such a difference maker for him. Lee McNeil on the D tackle. Corners, I think Terry Arnold in year 2 is going to be a lot less penalized and a lot less handsy, hopefully. I think that's going to help as well. I th- Once the pass rush is there, I think that helps their defense a ton. They don't have to blitz as much. They could play normal man, get after it with 4, have a little bit more help underneath. Where last year after he was down, it was hard to manufacture pressure, especially because they kept dropping like flies down the stretch. Brian Branch is Brian Branch is amazing. We all know that. They're just really good. So not a whole lot else needs said. I just think they're gonna be really good, even losing the coordinators. I think it will hurt, but they're still gonna be good. But I'll go ahead and recap it really quickly. The Vikings will go 6-11. The Chicago Bears 8-9. The Packers 8-1, and the Detroit Lions 12-5. This is a very fun division. I know my records have Detroit winning it comfortably, but I think it's gonna be close. I think there's gonna be moments where it's close, and then Detroit runs away with it.
I like it, honestly. I do. I think that's a very fun division. I look, we have almost identical. Well, we have the identical order, but we have different win totals, and I think that's where I think we differ. But yeah, I think your picks make a lot of sense. Like why you have, I agree with the Bears conversation. I think the Bears have that crazy opportunity to go worst to first if everything, and I mean everything, goes right, because we've never seen Caleb, whether it be in college or in the pros, we've never seen him with this complex of an offense. We've never seen him have to make these type of reads, and Jared Goff made it look easy. And that's not an easy thing to do. Like,
And it took Jared Goff time in Detroit too. Remember, they were 1-6 out of the gate with that, and then it clicked. So it takes time.
yeah. So it's always something to worth mentioning. Like it's gonna be, and it is Ben Johnson's ship. So as much as I applaud, a lot of coaches for putting players first and not their systems, Ben Johnson does that to a degree. He still puts his players first, but his system is still pretty stringent. So you have to stay within the bounds of the system for it to work. Like he needs you to understand the concepts that he's putting out there. Then you can do whatever you want to. And that's the kind of cool thing for Caleb, is as long as he understands the concepts that Ben Johnson's throwing out there, the plays seem to come about and succeed. And look, we know DJ Moore is dynamic, and we know what he can do if he has just a decent quarterback. Justin Fields has been his best quarterback in Chicago, and he lit it up. He was a fantasy darling that year. That might be DJ Moore's best quarterback so far in his career, and that's a crazy conversation to have.
I think he had Cam Newton, if I'm not mistaken, but that wasn't Cam Newton either. That wasn't quite Cam Newton.
That was the last year of Cam in Carolina. But no, it's just, you look at this, and this Bears team probably does have the best opportunity to go worst to first. And I agree with what you said about it.
I will also add, I think defensively they're really strong as well. They have a lot of really good players. The one thing that worries me is I don't think they're very deep at any place. So if they start getting like an O-lineman goes down, then there's a floodgate there, right? Montez Sweat misses the game. Well, now we can't rush anybody. So I do have some worries there. And Ben Johnson, I don't want to say he's been talking a lot of ish, but he's been talking a little bit of ish this offseason. Like he's been definitely, you could tell. You tell him your ish stinks. He's like, no, it doesn't. So I think he's gonna come out and try and make a little bit of a statement this year too. I think he's gonna be trying to dig into the bag of tricks to show off a little bit, especially in those Detroit games. So I think he's definitely putting his what in a wheelbarrow for this one. He's trying to out Dan Campbell in some cases. But I think in some cases it's gonna be great. I'm really looking forward to watching them. I love that they got I love that them and the Vikings are one of the first Monday night games. I know it feels weird to have them on there, but I love it. I think it's interesting to put that in prime time like that.
Yeah. What's funny is I would say I would love to see a bet happen, before we get into the betting thing. And this is like, I couldn't find this prop bet, but I want it to happen. Caleb Williams catching 2 touchdown passes in this season. I could see that being a thing.
I could see a Darnell Ryder at offensive lineman to score over under at 1.5. I'll take the over. I think 2 offensive linemen find their way into the end zone somehow.
Yeah. Easily with Ben Johnson.
Easily. But speaking of betting, it is now time to talk about some NFC North bets. So I led the way with the last time. You're going to lead the way here. How are we going to win some money in the North?
Yeah. So in the North, winning money might be pretty easy. It might also not be pretty easy. We're going to start with the Vikings. Well, and we are going to go with Jay Jettas. Surprising nobody. This is the easy one, in my opinion, whether it's JJ or anybody else. Over 8.5 total receiving touchdowns for Jay Jettas this season. The guy, somebody's got to score touchdowns for this team. JJ loves JJ. I feel like this makes sense. So we're just going to roll with it because the alliteration is fantastic. Next up, the Bears. This is the one I struggle with the most, and I think I struggled the entire time. As much as good things I just said about Caleb potential, I'm picking his under for his total passing yards this season. 3,625.5. I'm going under. Despite Ben Johnson, I do think what does make me nervous is this offseason and this preseason, this guy has barely been able to hit a net 10 yards away from him. That's terrifying to me. I mean, like, just hit the net, not even hit the actual squares in the net, just the net. And that does scare me because you do have to be precise in Ben's offense and in the NFL. You're not precise.